I think they just held strong together. You know, one of the things I did, I talked to Coach Josh Reyes about this earlier today. He said that Kelly Williams actually helped the TNT team kind of stick together, especially when San Miguel was starting to make their runs. So I think that was also key. The other thing that was also key was the young guys. It's been the issue with them. I'm talking about Troy Rosario, JP Adam, R. Pogoy, and even Mikey Williams. Those guys had to really step up in that game to really make the difference.
When we talk about the vets like Kelly and then of course the young guys, but two guys in particular, I think, for me, really stood up in that game. And the two leading scorers for TNT, 27 points, R. Pogoy, 20 points, Mikey Williams. What did you see from them and how were they able to contribute that much into that win?
I'm not looking at the points. I'm not looking at what they did out there in the court. I'm looking at this because we saw the pressure in Game 6 really affect each and every one of those guys. And like I said, those guys have been the keys in the success, also the future of where this team's going to go. Of course, there's Jason Castro. Of course, there's Ryan Reyes, Kelly Williams, my former teammates. But it really lies in the hands of those four guys because they're the ones that show all the promise. They're the young horses.
You talk a lot about the mental strength of the team, and did what they show in Game 7 give you more confidence for this team going into the finals in what is going to be another tough matchup against Magnolia?
I think, and I'm going to go back, I'm just going to relate this to my experience in our first run. Getting over the hump of San Miguel Beer is one of the most difficult things I think anyone is going to have to do.
I have to agree.
You walk in there, you're prepared. You know you have the pieces to beat this team, but then all of a sudden you step out there in the court, you hear the crowd, then you start thinking, can we really beat this team? It's really a psychological part of the competition aspect when you're going up against a team like San Miguel Beer. Now they're over that hump, but guess what? They're going up against another hump in Magnolia. Completely different types of styles of basketball for these two squads that they're going to go compete, later on in the week.
So before we move on and preview that matchup, let's talk a bit about the San Miguel Beermen because right now we've seen the end of their run in the Philippine Cup. Junmar Fajardo, he got his numbers typically. Some people might say he's not healthy yet, especially defensively. What did you see from him and his progression throughout this series?
I think he did an absolutely incredible job considering, his condition. I think the whole San Miguel team did a pretty good job. But then you also have to look at all the other teams around the league and all the adversity that they went through, especially the team that they lost to, TNT. They didn't have Kelly Williams for the longest time. I think we have to sort of talk about the pink elephant that's lingering in the room. This team has been together for a very, very long time. Now, I've said this time and time again, and San Miguel has proven me wrong so many years, but this team has been together since 2014. That is a long span. We talked about this, Paulo. How long do franchises, do dynasties last? Going back to the Phil Jackson era, normally these things last for about 7 to 8 years. More recent times, these types of dynasties last less than 8 years. So it's very interesting to see what happens, not with the entire team, but that starting five. They're aging. Do they make changes? What are they going to do? Are they going to reinforce? Are they going to revamp? This is something that they may not come out and say it and admit it, but it's definitely on the minds. It's definitely in the back of their heads saying, hey, we lost in the semifinals. We didn't get to the finals this time. Last conference, okay, we had injuries, but we still didn't get to the semifinals.
And you're talking about Cabagnot, Lassiter, Chris Ross, Junmar.
They're getting up there. Junmar's okay. All those other guys, something has to be addressed.
And that's, I just want to look at the bench. You have Terence Romeo, of course. You have CJ Perez. You have Vonte Sumal. So you think it's the infusion of these players?
That's the future. That's the future. All those young guys, that's the future. What are you going to do with all the other guys that's surrounding Junmar Fajardo? Because Junmar Fajardo's 31 years old. He's got a lot of years left in him. But you're looking at Alex Cabagnot, 37, 38. I don't know how old Chris Ross is. Chris Ross looks the same when he first came into the league. I don't know what he's doing. I want to know what Chris Ross is doing. What are you doing, man? But in all seriousness, a lot of these guys, you have to start looking at their longevity, which is great, but also the mileage. the mileage. That's something that needs to be addressed.
Well, this team in general, the San Miguel team, they've always proved people wrong. And a lot of people will say, like, hey, you know what? Things are not falling off the wheels just yet. We were just one game away from the finals.
Sure.
But then when you look at this team, and let's pretend that you're the GM here, and looking forward, is a revamp needed of the entire starting five, or do you think it has to be piece by piece to make sure there's a bit of continuity for this group?
I think it'd have to be piece by piece, nothing drastic. But we have seen that before. I'm going to go back to the Alaska Aces back in my time, where they took out Pochwinho, Johnny Abrientos, later on Bone Hawkins. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But I think definitely it needs to be addressed. It has to be addressed because you're planning ahead. Of course, you love these guys. They've done so much for the company, but you're also looking at it from a business standpoint. And you also want to keep the fans happy. You want to keep management happy as well.